The moment the 3 Russian MiG-31s slipped across the Estonian border, NATO's response was anything but reflexive. Within minutes, Italian F-35A Lightning IIs roared into the skies from Ameri Air Base, forced the intruders to change course, and stood guard until they exited Estonian airspace. That dramatic interception on September 19, 2025, exposed a shifting balance in air power and raised urgent questions about deterrence, escalation, and alliance resolve. On that autumn morning, the Estonian government announced that 3 Russian MiG-31 Foxhound heavy interceptors had entered Estonian airspace over the Gulf of Finland near Vainlu Island. According to reports, the incursions lasted about 12 minutes before the Russian jets were turned back. The Estonian Defense Forces said the aircraft were flying without flight plans, with transponders switched off, and without radio contact with Estonian air traffic control. NATO swiftly confirmed the breach, stating that Allied aircraft had been scrambled and intercepted the Russian fighters. A NATO spokesperson said, "Earlier today, Russian jets violated Estonian airspace. NATO responded immediately and intercepted the Russian aircraft." The MiG-31s were first tracked by NATO radar as they approached the Estonian border from the east with no signals, and Finnish fighters initially monitored them. Then, 2 Italian F-35A fighters deployed under NATO's Baltic air policing mission launched from Ameri and intercepted the formation, escorting them out toward international skies. Estonia's foreign minister, Margus Tsahkna, called the incursion unprecedentedly brazen and demanded stronger political and economic pressure on Moscow. In parallel, Estonia invoked Article 4 of the North Atlantic Treaty, asking NATO to consult on the security threat posed by such violations. Russia's defense ministry denied the violation, claiming the MiG-31s remained over neutral international waters en route to Kaliningrad. But Estonia and NATO officials pointed to radar and visual confirmation that the fighters had crossed the border. The breach marked the 4th Russian airspace violation against Estonia in 2025, but analysts say this one stood out because of the combination of high-speed interceptors and apparent disregard for standard rules of engagement. The incident also unfolded under the umbrella of NATO's Operation Eastern Sentry, which was launched earlier that month to bolster eastern flank defenses after a wave of Russian drone incursions into Poland. So why does this matter beyond skies and borders? First, it highlights the danger of miscalculation. A brief airspace breach, even if unarmed, can trigger an alliance reaction that brings fighter jets into close contact, raising the risk of collisions, inadvertent engagements, or escalation. Second, in an era where electronic warfare, stealth, and networked sensors dominate, the old paradigm of speed and altitude supremacy is evolving. The MiG-31 is built for piercing intruder raids at high speed and altitude, not for close-in dogfights or contested airspaces. When confronted with stealth fighters, integrated sensor nets, and tightly controlled rules of engagement, it loses part of its advantage. Third, this incident underscores how NATO is shifting from passive deterrence toward more assertive air defense postures. The alliance's willingness to scramble modern stealth aircraft and to publicly reinforce legal claims of sovereignty sends a message. Overflights are no longer tolerable testing tactics without consequences. For Russia, such incursions into NATO airspace risk undermining ambiguity strategy and invite tighter constraints on aerial operations. Regionally, this reinforces Baltic states' fears that their air and sea approaches are being probed deliberately, with the aim of testing response times and alliance unity. Globally, it signals to other powers that NATO is prepared to escalate from escort to confrontation if necessary. The rules of engagement in these scenarios are likely under review now. Estonia's prime minister has floated the possibility of sharper responses, stating that the parameters for shooting down Russian fighter jets must be clear. At the same time, NATO must calibrate these protocols carefully to avoid accidental war. This September 19th intercept wasn't a dramatic dogfight or a missile salvo. It was a decisive moment in signaling deterrence, presence, readiness, and political cohesion. It showed that even the fastest, highest-flying jet is constrained when it enters contested airspace under a robust sensor network and active defense posture. As future contests over skies grow more complex, with drones, hypersonics, and electronic warfare in the mix, incidents like this one may become the new norm rather than the exception. If you want timely, clear breakdowns of these kinds of aerial and naval confrontations and what they tell us about power, strategy, and security, please subscribe, hit the like button, and share your thoughts in the comments below.